So I'm excited for this episode of Million Dollar Seller. And you know, a lot of the things I talk about, I talk a lot about a lot of shit. And some of the good stuff, obviously business and sales, but it's all tied together. And, wellness, mindset, lifestyle is a part of that. So my friend on here, Amanda. Hi, Amanda.
Hello, I'm so excited to chat today.
I'm excited to have you. So we're going to talk business. We're going to talk health. We're going to talk goals. We're going to talk all the things. Of course, we'll keep it on point and short and sweet, but I'm so excited to have my friend Amanda on here. We connected through wellness. Wellness is a community, baby. So if you're looking to meet like-minded people, I think that's an incredible way to start because you're taking care of your health, you're taking care of your mind, you're taking care of your body, and you're meeting people doing the same. So it's easy to connect with those people because we're down the same journey, just wanting to be our best. So welcome, Amanda. I want you to just tell people some of your story. It's so incredible how you got here. And so let's hear it. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so a bit about my background is that I have been a dancer my entire life. I also, right out of school, became a CPA. I worked at one of the largest professional services firms and then transitioned into private equity. And so I was working a very full career at the same time as I was pursuing some dance dreams. And when I was almost at the mountaintop of those dance dreams, I was a finalist for the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders and was cut at that round, but it was such an incredible experience. And I was in my peak shape. I was in my optimal health. I had what looked like on paper to be one of the greatest jobs that you can get for the field that I was in.
Totally.
And was feeling very blessed. And about 2 months later, I had gotten back from a trip to Europe with my family. And all of a sudden, my heart rate variability plummeted. If you're not familiar with heart rate variability, it is a metric that my Whoop tracks, and it pretty much tells you how balanced and ready your nervous system is. We live in a world where there is so much nervous system dysregulation, but I had really kind of honed in on my nervous system and really like getting to that peak spot, right? And so all of a sudden, my HRV plummeted overnight. I was like, there is something wrong. I'm not sure exactly what it is. So that's when I sought out Western medicine. I had gone from one doctor to the next because first it was the heart rate variability, then my energy plummeted. Then all of a sudden my gut was distended by about 4 inches, seemingly overnight, and the weight started piling on. Every doctor that I went to just kind of dismissed me. It was really demoralizing, and the nail in the coffin for me was when I went to my OB after I had gotten some lab results back, and I said, hey, my estrogen levels are postmenopausal. She looked at me and said, are you trying to get pregnant right now? I said, no, I'm not, but our hormones do so much more than just allow us to get pregnant. So that for me was kind of like, wow, there is a problem and I need to go become part of the solution. And so over the course of the next few months, I just started going down deep dives of what I learned to be functional medicine and really uncovering what's the root cause of why I was experiencing all of this. And the worst of it happened actually on Christmas Day. My brain fog was awful.
Oh my God.
My body was breaking out in hives. My whole family went to go celebrate with our extended relatives, and I stayed at home on the couch. I couldn't get off the couch. I was so sick. I had a fever, and it really felt like I was a prisoner in that body. And at this point, we had gotten lab results back through functional medicine. We uncovered what was going on with my gut. I had a bacterial pathogen. I had a lot of imbalances within my gut. There was a bit of a sluggish thyroid, adrenal fatigue. The list kind of just goes on and on of what was going on. And that's when I realized my health had been stripped from me overnight, but some of these things probably had been building up over time due to different stressors.
That's incredible story. Not incredible that happened, but I think we all have those stories that really push us into something that's, vision and mission driven. And I'm sorry you went through that, but I love that you are making it into kind of your mission to help others overcome this type of stuff. I can't even imagine. And I think it too, I think about when I'm not healthy or when I'm not feeling good. and I've talked to you about this, and last month I had some panic attacks and all that stuff, is all you want in that moment is to feel good. You don't want anything else. You just want your health. So I think a good reminder to everyone listening is take care of yourself, slow down, find the solution. I think people often don't find the solution. They Band-Aid it, right? They take a pill, they just push it off and don't deal with it, right? Have you noticed that in your experience?
Yeah. And I think that more people are waking up to the fact that they don't want to put a Band-Aid on it. How you get to that solution is something that when people come to me, they're really struggling. They say, this is what I found online. I saw this health person on TikTok say this. I've gotten conflicting evidence from certain people. And that, I think, is what's the most frustrating for people. And so many people that come to me have had these chronic health problems for years and years and years. Or they came to me just saying, I had low energy and they just wanted to optimize their health, but everything else was great. They look super healthy. All of a sudden we get lab results back. Autoimmune condition. Oh, no wonder why your energy has been low and you're just a really high performer. And so you've been able to stay at that high caliber and push through because it's all you know. And I think that's part of the problem.
Yeah, for sure. So your business, how did this turn into your business? Like, you got kind of the foundation, the background. Tell me about what you do with your business and how you're making this impact on others.
Yeah. So when I was really sick, I said, I need to become a part of this solution. And it just so happened that around that time, I got invited to go to a mastermind event that was all about health and wellness coaches. I went. Health and wellness has always been something I've really cared about. I just didn't know that it was going to turn into this lifelong mission and vision for myself. And so, they say pain pushes you until the purpose pulls you. And I would say I turned my pain into purpose, my purpose into my power. And for me, it just kind of happened so seamlessly. It was like once you're at that right energy level, all of the alignments start falling into place. And that's exactly what had started happening. Granted, there was a lot of hard work that went into it. I was getting all of my certifications at the same time as I was working in private equity. And as soon as I had my business plan together, as far as like, hey, this is what my structured program is going to be, this is how I'm going to roll it out.
Yeah.
Then I went to market, as in I pitched it on Instagram. And from there, my coaching business was born.
Amazing. Amazing. Tell me about, so I obviously have a business too, and we have these kind of transformation statements and what we really do. What's like, if you were to say in a nutshell, what you help people do, what would be that power statement?
Yeah, I help peak performers uncover their chronic health issues so that they can step into and unleash a life of optimal health.
I love that. You know it. You've obviously done the work to know exactly what you do. And I think something that's really cool is taking your health into your own hands. I consider myself my best doctor. Like, we have to listen to ourselves, listen to our bodies. And, it's 2025. I think people are more interested in taking matters into their own hands, right? And you mentioned something too, when they get to that point of pain, or like they're just looking for answers. There's a lot of stuff out there. There's a lot of TikToks and Instagram, and it's like, it gets confusing, analysis paralysis. So if someone comes to you, where do you start? Do you do like an evaluation first?
Yeah. So first we just hop on a call. We talk through what's going on, what has been happening, what have you tried, what have you liked, what has worked, what hasn't worked. And most of the time, I'm meeting this person when they have not done the comprehensive lab testing that I have to offer. Okay. Or they've done them, but they've done them piecemeal. So they don't have a full picture of what's going on. And we really need a full picture of what's going on. From my experience, I see three things that are wrong that kind of get to the root. One is nutrient deficiencies, which we live in a world that doesn't have great soil anymore, right? No. So we're deficient. Second is there's some kind of gut imbalance. And the third is toxins. And so we pretty much do a deep dive to all three of those to uncover what is going on. And some people say, oh, well, I'm just having gut issues. But I say our body is interconnected. There's probably something else going on. And I work with a lot of individuals that have autoimmune conditions, and they've been on medication since they were 10, 11 years old.
Yeah.
And they find me however many years later, and we are able to actually uncover what was going on. For the first time in their life, they just dropped weight like that, and they have more energy than ever.
That's great. So when you see these people, are they in, I don't want to say these people, but you know what I mean, that you're the people that you're serving, essentially. I imagine they're probably fatigued and tired. Are they in pain? What are the symptoms?
Yeah, chronic fatigue, weight gain most of the time.
Mm.
I work with a lot of people with gut issues. Gut issues is huge. Most of the time, people are just like burnt out they're exhausted all the time, and that's their normal. And they're sick of that being their normal. And so they have this wake-up call, like, hey, it's time to get my health in line, because they realize if I want to keep running at the rate that I'm running at, I need to make sure my health is in check first.
Totally. I think too, that reminds me, I was talking with someone, this was a while ago, but we were talking about people's health. And when people get used to that, it's sad, because once you get a taste of what it feels like to feel good, you don't want anything else. Like when you have energy, when you're getting good sleep and you're waking up and you feel rested, when you taste that, that's how you can live, right? I want to shift gears a little bit. So I want to talk about you. I want to talk about some of your goals. So, and some of your advice too. I want to use your expertise here on this podcast, because I get a lot of people that they're really like us, right? They're growth minded. They're entrepreneurs. They're starting a business. They're building a business. They're just figuring it out. And me and Amanda know it takes effort. It takes consistency. It takes showing up, and it takes time. So I have big goals. You have big goals. And a lot of people I work with, they get overwhelmed. They tend to lack some focus or get really distracted. So I know this is really common. So I'm going to ask you, part one of this question is, when you're feeling like your goals are daunting and they're overwhelming, maybe you're not focused as much as you could be, or you're getting distracted, how do you stay motivated?
I reset myself. My morning routine is so crucial. It is so crucial. I need a few hours in my morning for myself to plug in spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. Once I've done that, I can prepare myself for the rest of the day with whatever curveballs are going to be throwing at me. A big thing is the night before, I make sure that every half hour of my day is planned out. And usually I do that for the whole week on Sundays, but I'll double check. I'll go back the night before. I have my calendar both in online and paper. So I'm able to identify exactly what's going on, because it could be really overwhelming when you're being dragged in a bunch of different directions, and there's a bunch of shiny objects, but you really have to get clear on what is it that is your vision, and is that in alignment with it? And if it's not, it's an easy no. And if it is, it's an easy yes. And then just reprioritizing constantly. And so I would say to those that feel overwhelmed, write it down, write it all down, prioritize accordingly, and then you're going to constantly be making adjustments.
Yeah, I love that. That's something I do as well, as especially before the week starts on a Sunday. You could do a Monday. I like to be proactive, but Sunday, you writing down everything you need to do, prioritizing it. Understand there's always going to be shit to do. Like there's always going to be things to do. So just managing through that is really important. And then part two of this question, I believe it's all interconnected. And I told you me and Amanda connected over wellness. I love wellness. Obviously, she loves wellness. But how do you stay healthy when things get hard? When things get tough? What's your mindset like? What are some tips to people listening now on how can they stay feeling good, feeling like their health is still a priority? Because I see people when they get busy, that shit goes, and I'm like, that's my mindset is that's when I need it the most. I need the workouts the most. Then I need the sleep the most. Then I need the saunas and the cold plunges. Then when I'm feeling stressed, because it resets me. So what's your tips? Some tips on how to stay healthy when you're feeling overwhelmed with all this stuff?
Absolutely. That's when you double down on yourself. When life gets busy around you, that's when you really need to double down on your health. And like we've been saying, like if you don't have your health, nothing else matters. So I always say, get back to the basics. Are you moving your body every day? Are you getting in 10,000 steps? I recommend drinking a gallon of water. So are you hydrating? Are you fueling? Do not skip meals. And also don't be sitting in front of your desk cramming food in your mouth. That's not great for your digestive system. It's not great for your nervous system. So really it's getting back to the basics. When life gets busy, I promise you that to-do list is always going to be there. But if you don't have your health, you're not going to be able to do it. When you take care of the basics, then you have the mental clarity, you have the focus. You'll really surprise yourself. You'll be able to do more in less time.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think so. When I quit drinking alcohol, I started to develop new ways to cope, right? New avenues to deal with life. So it's really about figuring out ways that you can deal with stress, ways that you can manage through life. And I agree with you. That's the time you need it the most. And oftentimes people kick it to the curb. I don't have time for this because I have to work more or something like that. It's like, no. That's when you need to de-stress the most. That's when you need to hit the gym or get the rest or journal or meditate, all the things, right? To really recenter yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would even say that I have seen that a lot of people feel the societal pressure to perform other than to take care of themselves. And when you take care of yourself, you'll start to notice all the people around you will actually look and be like, oh, what are they doing? So what I find oftentimes is people coming to me and they're overwhelmed. They're like, I don't know how other people are going to take this. And first of all, that's an inner thing that they need to work through. But second, I say, well, you change your habits and watch all those around you change. And so you might need to be that person that takes a stand. I was always that person. Health is more important than this job. So yes, I will work 60 to 80 hours. That was in one of my jobs. That's how many hours I was working. But I will not put my health to the side for this.
Totally. I always made time. That's why I like to do it in the morning, because I feel like getting it done in the morning, it's done. It's, pushing it off means it might not get done because things can happen. So I really love that advice. I want to shift gears a little bit to selling, just because this is a business and sales podcast. But once again, it's all connected. Health, wellness, like it's all connected, baby. So selling. I'm going to ask you a question, because one of my missions is to help people like you and help other business owners really grow their businesses and sell it with confidence, sell it with authenticity, and do it the right way. People think sometimes it's just like, oh, I can't do this. It's too hard, or it's too pushy, or it's too, listen, if you're doing it that way, you're just doing it wrong, is what I tell people. And also selling is serving people. You're serving a community. How do you sell yourself?
I don't think you have to sell yourself when you are who you are. When you're walking authentically in who you are and you believe in what you're selling, you're not selling, you are serving exactly what you're saying. And I think when I first started with different affiliate programs with supplement companies at the very beginning of my health journey, I was struggling. So I was like, I hate being salesy. Like I was that person that said that. And what I had to learn was that I wasn't being authentically me. And so because I wasn't being authentically me, of course, no one's going to want to buy it from me. But as soon as I stepped into my own power, stepped into knowing exactly who I am and what I was called to be, then it was really natural for me to be able to sell something that I believe, because it's just a transfer of energy at the end of the day.
You're saying all the right things, girl. And I didn't, she's just saying it organically, and she's so right. I love sales. Sales is great. There's a lot of psychology behind it. It's an art form. But I believe too that you sell, one, something that you love and you're passionate about, and two, you do it authentically, and it is a transfer of energy. That's it. I remember when I was slinging deals over the phone, selling a product I really love, and people could feel it. I was helping them with their health. Shocking, all these things. Check the box for Sam, right? Helping them with their health, something I love, energy, all the shit, right? So when you're selling something that you're passionate about, it's easy to sell. You're transferring energy, you're solving problems, you're providing solutions to the people you're serving. I want your opinion on this. Is I think this has been a struggle when I've worked with entrepreneurs, because this is my business. And also sometimes I've had to overcome these blocks as well. What's your take on selling your product? I've had people struggle to sell what they've created, but it's easy for them to sell something else. I think it's because of detachment. When it's someone else's stuff, they're detached from it. But when it's your own personal, like, baby, it's like, it's a little bit of a challenge. What's your take on that? Have you struggled with it?
I think when you get really clear on why people need transformation, it's easy. For me, I've known the why, and I've walked through my own program multiple times. First, because I had a bacterial pathogen. Second, because I had black mold. So I've been through this. I've seen firsthand my own transformation, and then I've seen all my other clients that's lives have transformed. At the very beginning, when I was first pitching my program and I hadn't had one client yet, yes, I think I had a little bit of imposter syndrome because my background wasn't technically in health and wellness. Yes, I had taken care of myself my whole life, but I'm not some kind of doctor. And so having to kind of just get those reps in at first, but really knowing inside and out what my program is, why these people need transformation. What you're doing is you're selling them transformation.
Yeah.
If they can see that. And, you know, if someone says no, if I go all the way with that person on a call and I'm saying, I'm uncovering the why, because it's not most of the time, though, if someone will give you an objection, it doesn't have to do with whatever they're saying. There's something deeper, right?
Yeah.
There's fear that they can't have that they can't do the work to create the transformation. There's fear that this program won't work because nothing else has worked. There's so many different kinds of fears that come up. I know something that I had to work through was scarcity mindset. I grew up in a home of such abundance, so I don't know where it came from, but that was something I really had to work through. And as I worked through that, then all of a sudden, naturally, I was able to sell so much better. So most of the time, it's something within that you need to work through personally. And once you can identify that, then it will just naturally flow.
I totally agree. I think part of the process people need to understand, and a couple points I want to make that you just said is, once you go through it and you get a result for one person or two people, that should get you some confidence right there. And you need to constantly reaffirm yourself of that confidence. Oh, I'm getting results. That's why you're here, right? And then number two is walking through it yourself. Once you develop, whether it's a service or a product, I'm sure a lot of people develop stuff based on their stories. That's what I did, and that's what you've done, right? Based on our own personal journeys. And going through it, though, going through your program and constantly looking at it and revisiting it and taking it yourself just gives you that confidence too of, oh, this is the right framework, this is the right system, and I'm on the right track. So that's a lot of the inner work that you have to do. And I'm a big believer of that. I'm a big believer of rewiring your nervous system and your subconscious for abundance, for success. And the best way to do that is visit it every day. And people think that's nuts, but I'm like, no, you literally need to put this as part of your morning routine to visit every day. I imagine that's something you do as well.
Yeah, every day I'm speaking life over myself of who I am in 5 years. And that trains my subconscious every day. And I want to go back real quick to what you had said at the beginning about detachment, and that you think that most people are fine with selling to other products, but struggle more with their own. And it's funny because I actually experience a little bit more of the opposite. And because I have a hard time selling things that I don't really believe in. Totally. Right. So, I mean, for anyone I think that would be difficult. But the very first product that wasn't my own that I really believed in selling were peptides. And that's because they transformed my life. And so I would say to those that are struggling with sales, are you crystal clear on what you're selling and why you're selling it? What is your deep why? And it doesn't have to be your own story, your own transformation. I know another health coach that she helps women that are in perimenopause and menopause, and she's not that age range, but she has a very deep why. And so I think, again, it goes back to self. and
Yeah.
reflecting on that on a daily, weekly, monthly basis.
Yeah, I think it's just that embodiment work, just become it. And it reminds me of one of my favorite quotes. Dr. Joe Dispenza is, the best way to bring your vision to life is to become your vision. And part of the inner work is just showing up for yourself. And I tell my clients too, it's like, man, we need you. We need your service. We need your expertise. Like the world needs you. So show up like that and go get them. I think too, you can't go wrong with doing something you're passionate about and authentically love. Of course, there's got to be other variables. If you want to make a business out of it, it's got to be in demand of some sort. It's got to be able to make you money, but also something you're good at and something you're passionate about. You cannot go wrong. Man, I had one more question I was going to ask you, and I cannot remember for the life of me. I think I thought of it. So final question for now. And maybe I'll bring her back. We'll get some good feedback on this episode. Amanda, my girl, what does your routine look like? What is your, you wake up, what do you do? 'Cause I'm all about this shit. I believe you gotta fill up your cup first. Fill up your cup before you fill up other people's, especially if you're in a service industry, especially if you're a coach, if you're showing a leader, entrepreneur, before you show up for others, show up for yourself. What's your morning routine or your routine look like typically?
Always. Yeah, my morning routine is so crucial. So I wake up at 4:45 a.m. That's just kind of been the sweet spot for myself. And I wake up, I do my peptides, which are something I do every morning. And then from there, I find my way to the couch in my family room and I have some quiet time. I'm usually reading, journaling, praying, just kind of thinking. That's when I go through all of my I am statements. That's just speaking life into myself for that day. And that has been pivotal in my life. Once I've done that, as I'm doing that, I'm drinking my first glass of water and some matcha. Then from there, depending on the morning, I'll either go straight to the gym and train, because I train with a trainer, or I'll go to my computer and I'll work for an hour or so and then go to the gym. It just kind of depends on the morning, because some mornings I'm at the gym earlier, some days it's later, depending on what time I train. So I'm waking up, I'm hydrating, I am reading, journaling, I am praying, I am moving my body, I come back, I shower, I fuel. Breakfast is so important. Don't skip breakfast. Don't be rushing off. I make sure that I'm preparing my meal. It has lots of protein in it. I'm sitting at my counter. I'm enjoying my meal. Usually I'm either listening to some worship music or a podcast. And then I get ready and my day begins. And that's usually my morning routine.
I think one of the most important things is I like to tell people, if you don't know where to start, thank you for sharing that. It sounds similar to mine. I think we all have a process, right? Is to fuel your mind, fuel your body, and give yourself space. I think people just wake up and go. It's I think that morning space is so important. And I mentioned earlier about my panic attacks. It's when I was off those things, I wasn't giving myself that space and I wasn't breathing and meditating, and it was a little bit more chaotic. So thank you for sharing that. And you guys, I encourage you to take this advice and run with it. I would love to hear from you too. So if you have any things that you've done and tried on this episode, shoot me a DM. And last, Amanda, thank you for being here. Tell the people that are listening how they can connect with you if they want to dive into their gut health, they want to get healthier, or they just want to connect with you on the socials. Where can they find you at?
Yeah. Best way to find me is on Instagram at Amanda 𝐒𝐚𝐬𝐧, �С𝐿𝑒𝑢𝐾𝑠, short for 𝐒𝐚𝐬𝐧. Send me a DM, say you came from Sam's podcast, and I would love to connect with you.
Amazing. I'll link that in the show notes as well, so you guys can check her out in my caption. So thank you, Amanda. And you guys, we are here to support you. I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm so excited for where this podcast is going and how it's growing. But when you connect with people that are doing the same things and they're like-minded, it makes all the difference in your life. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing up for yourselves, and new episodes every single week. And thanks again, Amanda. Let us know what you thought of our conversation. And you guys, we're here to support you. So if you need support, you know how to find us.